Because of this channel, I have been very lucky to unbox things that are just genuinely novel and unique. And what is inside here right now is like no other multi-tool that I have ever handled before. And today we're going to get my just completely raw, unfiltered first impressions of the Toler Union. So let's go ahead and take a look. All right, so let's get into it. Now, I have no idea what's actually in the package, and I certainly don't know how I'm going to feel about it. Some background real quick before we get started. When this tool was first announced, it looked a little strange. I think to a lot of people, this is very unconventional. On top of that, it took a long time for production to occur and for people to get the tools. When some of my friends who joined the Kickstarter finally started getting them, they started telling me that this is a real deal quality piece. And ever since then, I've been on the fence, considered getting one. So when they reached out to me, when Toler Union reached out to me and said, hey, would you like to check this out? I said, hell yeah, I'm very, very curious. So they gave me no stipulations. We're just going to check it out, give our first impressions, and we will probably do a review much later down the line. So let's go ahead and get started. Ooh, fancy. All right. So that's what's in the bag. Whoops. I'll take that. All right. Cool. Boom. So first of all, we have two cases here. One in like a burgundy leather, looks like, and one in black. Interesting. One lays a little flatter than the other. Very cool. Okay. Those are nice. Okay, let's move on. So they're kind of designed to be kind of scout carry. So horizontal. I kind of like that. From what I can tell, this is a big tool. So having something that is a little easier to manage, that's a good thing. All right, so let's go ahead and get into this. Before using your union, please visit tolerunion.com/start for instructions and important safety information. Okay, well, we're just going to dive in because, you know, that's how we roll. All right. The Toler Union. Okay, first impression. First and foremost, this is a heavy tool. Let me get this out of the way so you can see it. Wow. Okay, this is like a couple of tools. I'm not 100% sure. Woo, that's a big blade. I'm not 100% sure the weight. My guess is we're talking surge level. Definitely gonna have to check out how much, in fact. So it only goes that far unless I do what here? We are literally just trying to figure this out. Is that how it works? Aha, it does. So so this slider right here lets it fold all the way out and lay flat. Okay, that's cool. Oh my God, there's so much going on here. And I'm usually really good with this stuff. So I do know for a fact that it is also possible to separate these two tools. Looks like that is solid. And how do I pull it apart? How do I pull it apart? They weren't kidding, I don't think, about figuring this out, you know, with a with the website. only reason I know how to do this is because I've actually watched a video on it in the past, and I know that you have to open the plier head first. Now, I had a lot of speculation about this plier head. From all the videos I saw, it looked a lot more dainty than it's showing here. I mean, look at how much thicker that is than you might expect. I mean, we're almost a 1/4 inch thick, where it still has a very narrow profile this way. Integrated cutters. Now, notice this is really designed like a needle nose because this has a different style of wrench we'll get into in a bit. So starting with this side, looks like there's 4 bits stored over here. And I see a magnetic slot there. In this arm, what do we got going here? Got a saw. This is a pull saw, looks like. The teeth are kind of large. I don't know how I feel about that. We'll have to test it. But they are very aggressive. Nice and sharp. That's good. File. How's the file? Oh, that's not a file. That's a metal saw. It's not a file. That's a metal saw. Interesting. And then what's this? It's a file on one side, and then looks like a reamer, I think. So if I were to close this like that and open this up, how practical is it? So slip joint right there. I think usable. That's pretty strong though. Wow. That is like about as strong or maybe even stronger than the Leatherman Bond, which I think is quite strong. So that's actually pretty good. I'm not sure what the deal is with this geometry, but you know, interesting. Like I said, first impressions here, guys, just first impressions. Very pointy though. Now, how do I get out those bits? No. Let me open this up again. So I have to fold out the plier head like so, and then I push them out with my fingers. Ew. And they're ball detent. Interesting. Now it looks like with the magnet here that it can use regular bits, but that the bits that come inside it are individually capable of pressing in there. I wonder if it matters which direction. Doesn't look like it does. That's really well done. Okay, so the 4 bits come out. They go in magnetically. That's something. Okay. Now, I did have a question. Would this bend on me while I'm working with it? Spring-loaded, by the way. I like that. You know, I don't know. It obviously doesn't lock, but there seems to be a decent amount of resistance to that motion. It's not ideal, but in theory, you're not going to be doing twisting with this. What are we doing with that? I don't know. I'm just thinking, is this going to be a problem? I don't know. We'll have to test it. I'm hesitant to make any conclusions just yet, but it does feel like there's a bit of resistance. I do have a concern that over time, potentially, well, it does have screws to tighten it, so maybe that won't be an issue. And there are flatheads, so they're not proprietary. So maybe that issue is moot. Maybe that issue is moot. We'll see. We will see. Now, on the back side, we have a blade. Now, I'm not 100% sure, but I think this is D2. I think that's what it said in its Kickstarter. And this is less obnoxious than I would have expected. I kind of would have thought it would have been worse. In fact, I've had multi-tools with worse ergonomics. But it's interesting. In many ways, I kind of feel like this tool maybe should have skipped the blades entirely. Possibly. but it is one-handable. It's really long too. Okay. Well, that's that. We have our 4 bits. We have a blade. We have a plier head. We have both a metal saw and a wood saw. Very interesting. And a very small file. Okay. Interesting choices. Now on this side, we have a couple of things. We have a spring-loaded catch for, what is this? This is looks like the bit extender. So it goes in like so, and then settles itself. Oh, that's actually kind of a nice way to do it. All right, so there's the extender, and it goes like that, and it does have a magnet, it looks like. Let me see something. Let's see if it actually uses standard bits. That's kind of important, right? Yes, it does. Does it take it in there? Yes, it does. Okay, good. Well, that's a good start. So it does, in fact, utilize standard hex bits. T-handle orientation, all steel construction, so you're basically stuck with using it in a high torque scenario, less of a, what do you call it, inline. So that's something that I think may or may not be for everyone. Now, here's what they're calling the Omni lock wrench. So I don't have the ability to test this, but in theory what it is when you put it in the right direction and you slide it onto a nut, you can essentially ratchet the nut with this setup. I've seen it demonstrated, but I've never tried it myself, obviously. So I'm going to have to get some help on testing this out. I may even set up something for this, and probably for other multi-tools as well to play with. Maybe like a gauntlet for multi-tools where we have some nuts to deal with, some screws to deal with on a wooden board. But yeah, pretty interesting. The one thing that makes no sense on this tool, and I'll tell you, I will conclude that right now, is a pocket clip. This tool together, the 2 pieces together, weigh a ridiculous amount. Like, I'm guessing 13 ounces. In no way it's less. And for this to have a pocket clip, I mean, you got to have some serious belt to hold this. More than likely, this is going to be one of those holster-only tools. And thankfully, it does include a very nice holster. I really do like the design and the way it looks. It kind of feels like, at least to me, this would fit perfectly on the back of a motorcycle, basically. That's what it kind of feels like. It's got that same kind of look to it, you know, that riveted look. And I think the same is going to be true. I think it's going to go on a belt, for sure. So we have a wrench. We have a needle nose plier. We have 2 saws, an awl, a reamer, I should say, with a small nail file. I guess it's a nail file. It's kind of a small file. It comes with 4 bits stored into it, which you can only get access to if you open the plier head. So in order to access the bits, you have to undo everything. So let me, real quickly, this is just one thing I want to try. I'll put all these away. Okay, I didn't try to figure it out in a specific orientation. So that closes. Oh, I see. See that catch? It actually locks it in place. That's really cool. Look at that. It's pretty neat. All right, so, oh wait, I can't do that. Okay, so I did this wrong. So they put the bits in, and then I set this up, right? Like that. Oh wait, I did it wrong. Go this way. Close it up. Am I doing this wrong? Okay, getting that in was a little bit of a problem. So just, that's something to notice. That's something I can say right now. Getting that lined up was a little difficult. Then this catch goes down and that closes. Now I'm going to interrupt myself for just a second and point out that there is a magnetic bit holder, which you can see right there, in between the 2 sections of the Toler Union. Now I completely spaced on this and missed it in my first look. So I just thought I'd mention that it does in fact have an inline option that is possible. So you can take out the bit extender, and if you have additional bits, you can basically use those instead of taking the whole thing apart. Just thought I'd point it out and carry on. Do I have to close it again? Yeah, I have to close it again. Jesus. Okay, so I have to close it again. Close it again. All right, do that. Okay. Now I got my bit holder, which assume I popped that out. So that goes there. That goes there. Now can I do it? Can I refold it the other way? I can't go any further than that. Okay, so essentially I have this entire thing and I'm doing that. Now, I've dealt with some impractical tools in the past, but I would say that that is a lot of steps, to say the least, and it's not the easiest thing to do, even when you know what you're going to do. And I think the big part is the connection right here. I think making sure that you get those things lined up is a little bit difficult, but in theory, what I would probably do is if I was using the bits, let's take this out for a second, I would quickly fold this out, Jesus, fold it out, open that up, take that off, and then I would just use this, you know, basically, after I pull that out. I wouldn't bother with even closing the plier, right? I would just go for it. The problem I'm having here is this is a lot of metal to spin. And when you have this much metal that you're spinning, the likelihood that you're hitting something in a corner or otherwise, yeah, we'll talk a little bit more in the full review. My initial impressions are what my friends said when they got it are true. The quality is definitely there. It executed it pretty well. It is the most interesting and the most novel multi-tool I've seen in a long time. I will freely admit that. I've never seen anything like this. Okay? But practicality, we're getting an issue of practicality, at least in my first impressions, is that especially the manipulation of the bit holder specifically, I think that's problematic. I don't know yet if the pliers are going to be an issue, but I am very happy with how robust they are. I thought when I looked at the pictures that they were going to be far thinner than this. This is actually much more substantial, so I'm pretty happy with that. As far as the blade is concerned, I don't have any problems with it. It's easy enough to manipulate. It has a liner lock. It's surprisingly not that uncomfortable. I thought it would be worse, to be honest, with the way it was shaped. But this is fine. This is fine. It's an interesting blade shape, really pointy, hollow ground. Let's see how sharp it is. I mean, we might as well go for it, right? I find a piece of paper. Oh, this will be a challenge. Okay, so this is, I doubt it'll cut this. This is like, you know, the paper you put in to presents, so likelihood is very low that it cuts that. Let me find something else. Aha, here we go. Here's some Costco paper. Ah, not bad. Not bad at all. Nice and sharp. I'll take it. So it did come sharp. That's cool. Now, keeping in mind that we have to assume this is, you know, one of the better implements out there because it did come straight from Toler Union. Wow, just very interesting for sure. Now, if I had to put all this back, how much of a pain is that going to be? And that's where we're going to end it. We're going to put it all back in the case, and that's going to be it for today. So all in all, it's very different. That's what I got to say right now. It's very, very different from anything that I have dealt with in the past. It's a whole new ball game. Yeah. Oh, wait a second. What I'm learning is maybe it's easier to put it into this side first. There's a trick to this, I'm sure. Oh, it's you know, I keep pushing it in that way. It's not actually that direction. So there's a little bit of wiggle room that you can play with. So it's a lot of this is just user error, it seems. There you go. So I went in no problem, and then I could fold that in. And now it's locked. There we go. And this goes in here. Pull that out. That looks nice. And there you go. That's the Toler Union. That's our first look. Wow, yeah, I'm kind of at a loss for words. It's very interesting. Like nothing else I have ever dealt with before, for sure. I definitely am going to need some time to digest it, to think about the advantages, disadvantages, where I'd put it. But yeah, there's definitely some interesting takes here, to say the least. So that's going to be it for today. And we will be talking about this tool, I am sure. Now, if you have any questions about this tool specifically, please put them in the comments, and I will use that to help investigate and test this tool before the next video, where we will go through and do a full review. So thanks for tuning in. That's it. You have a good one.